Hey everyone, hope you're doing well today. Welcome back to AA Homestead, and my name is Alicia. What we are going to be doing today is freeze drying soup. Now, I double batched some soup. I've been wanting to do this for a while actually, I just haven't done it. And I did chili and it's sausage and potato soup. So I did stick those in the freezer, so let's go ahead and get those out. I've got all 4 of my trays in front of me, and you can see I only did one of chili just because we were eating that for dinner, so I only did 1 tray of that. But this is the ham and potato soup that I have, and the reason why I froze them is because they were piping hot when I put them on the trays, and you don't want to put that in the freeze dryer. So I just stuck them in the freezer and did that, and now they are ready to go in. I apologize for the massive glare that I have, but unfortunately it is what it is. But I have turned on the freeze dryer, and that valve back there, I've got to close that, so I'm going to do that really quick. The hose is shut off, and then we're just going to go ahead and make sure the door is shut and hit the start button. So I do apologize that it does get a little loud, but we're just going to wait for that 15 minutes and then we're going to go ahead and get the soup in there. The freeze dryer is done with the 15 minutes, and now it is prompting me to put the food into the freeze dryer. So let's go ahead and do that. Now when you're putting these in, you want to make sure that they're not hitting all the way back. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to hurt anything, but I always try to line up the tray with that front here, just to make sure. And you can see on the inside here where the ice has started to build up. And then the chili is going right on the top. Okay, let's close this door. Now I stick a little piece of paper in the door here just to give it extra security. I mean, you don't have to do that. We just like to do that just to make sure the door is snug. So now that that's closed, we are going to, it says close the drain valve, which I already did. So we're just going to hit continue, and then it's going to go ahead and start freezing. Okay, now we have the food in the freeze dryer. I actually have to head off to work. I'm hoping that the process will be done by the time I get home from work. I'm very curious to see. I have discovered that people who own a freeze dryer are putting or pre-freezing their fruits and vegetables or whatever that they're putting in the freeze dryer. From my understanding, it cuts down the drying time or the process time. We'll see if it's done tonight when I get home from work. But I'm curious for you guys, if you own a freeze dryer, do you freeze anything before you put it in just to cut down that time? Let me know in the comments below. But we'll be back in a minute. Well, a minute for you guys. Okay, the freeze dryer is done. I was hoping last night when I got home from work that it would be done, and unfortunately it wasn't. So I went to bed and woke up and got ready, and it is finally done. So before we do anything, I know you can't see the screen, before I prompt anything on that, I am going to be testing these just to make sure that they are completely dried. I don't want any moisture in there because I don't want the batch to be ruined. So we're gonna test that first and before I decide what I need to do next. But first, let's open that drain valve so we can get the seal broken so I can get these out of here. The drain valve is open. I don't know if you heard any of that noise when I was starting to record, but it is a very loud whooshing noise. That's just getting all the air out there and breaking the seal, so we should be good to go now. All right. I think we're good. Of course, the true test is always, that is so weird. Wow. That was very intense flavor. It was a piece of celery, and as you know from the egg video, I've been having issues with my my taste, and it's been kind of not really back and forth, but some things are really intense, some things are not. That is intense. So I think we're good. I'm gonna test the other ones just to make sure, because there is, you know, it's liquid. So I want to double check all of these. That one seems okay. It's just weird that you can put soup in here and freeze dry it. I've got sausage. I'm not gonna, I don't wanna eat that yet. It's, the concept of this is, it's still mind-blowing that you could put something in here and take all the liquid out. And then the chili. Yeah, I think we're good. This is a bean. It is so weird. All right, let's get these out of here. Now that I have the door shut and everything out, I'm going to go ahead, I mean, you could leave it, let it naturally defrost. I've done that before, but if you are going into the next batch, then you want to hit this defrost button. And then, like it says, you want to keep the drain valve open and then close door. And then you want a bucket down there with the hose so the water can go somewhere so it's not going on your floor. We've got all our soups on the table here, and I know you can't really see it in the video. I've got this, I think it's Mueller is the brand. I bought this off Amazon. This is actually a kettle. I like tea, so I ended up buying this. I really do enjoy this. Hashtag not sponsored, but I'm going to be, of course you want hot water for hot soup, but I'll pull it back here so you can see there's a button up here. The light turns blue when you turn it on. When it's done, the blue light is going to turn off. So while we have that going, I think I'm gonna start with the chili. Now typically it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so I have a half cup here, and I'm going to fill this and then do a half cup of chili. It's weird because I was thinking about this last night, and with the egg video, I just threw it right into the blender and did it that way. But because this is a soup and you've got, you know, vegetables and stuff in there, it's a little different. You don't want to really throw it in the blender, because then once you reconstitute it, then it's just what it is. I mean, it's still soup at that point, but it's not really chili, you know what I mean? So we'll see how this goes. And I apologize if this thing is a little loud. I mean, this would be great for, you know, if you do hunting, just to store it. You know, there's so many things that you can save this for. For me, I know we've got like a hot spigot out of our coffee at work, so I could just take this to work instead of worrying about spilling it everywhere, keeping it cold. You know, I could just directly take this to work and then do it that way. Easy peasy. It doesn't take too long for it to boil, depending on how much water you have in it. There is a minimum and a max. Of course, the less water that you have in it, the shorter time it's going to take for it to get hot, versus how much water, you know, or if you have max water, it's going to take longer for it to boil. All right. So I'm going to start off with 1/3. I feel like that's a lot. Maybe we'll go 1/3. And if it's too much, we'll back off of it and we'll do less. So we'll get that in there. We'll let this sit for a minute. And usually eggs, when I did the eggs, it took about a minute or two. I don't know, because eggs was basically straight powder. This has substance in it, beans, celery, carrots. So, I would say let's wait 5 minutes and then come back and then see what it looks like. So it's been a couple minutes and I'm very curious. I know I said I was gonna wait 5, but I'm starving and like I said, I'm very curious to see what this is going to be like. Like I said, my mind, I know the process. I know how it works, what it does, but to put something on this tray and put it in here, suck all the moisture out, and then reconstitute it and store it up to 35 years, just my brain can't wrap around that. But it is so cool. And making soups, like I said, I could take this to work, or if I'm hunting, I could take this hunting. Of course, you would have to have a thermos with some hot water in it, but that's totally okay. We have thermoses. It's amazing, and it's something that's really cool and that I have been really enjoying. Not gonna lie, I was really nervous about it at first because it is, quite frankly, expensive. I didn't want to ruin it just because it has so many steps to it, but once you learn those steps, it's really not that bad. So enough blabbing, let's taste this. Okay, so I got a clear bowl so you could see, but it's not working that well. But the consistency seems good. Let's go for it. I think it could have used a little more time, but honestly, it tastes just like chili. I didn't expect it to taste anything like anything else, but it's not bad. Now there is, excuse me, there is hamburger in here. And it tastes like hamburger. It's still, like I said, I think it still needs a little bit more time to absorb that water that I put in there. And I also was kind of curious, if I put water in here, is it gonna dilute it? Is it gonna taste watery? I contemplated maybe chicken broth, and no, you can use water. It doesn't taste watery or anything like that. It actually tastes really good. I'm pleasantly surprised. Of course, as always, next step for this process is I'm going to be storing them in my half-gallon wide mouth jars. Absolutely love these. I actually couldn't find these for a minute and I was getting really nervous. For some reason, our store just doesn't keep a lot of canning stuff in stock, unfortunately. But I was able to find these at, I think it was Menards. So I picked up a couple. We're going to be putting the oxygen absorbers in here. And with the egg video, with all those eggs, I put oxygen absorber in there. And that lasted for a month on the counter, which is a super long time. And I ate all of that. I had no problems. It didn't reconstitute because it takes moisture from the air, reconstitute. I didn't have any issues with that. So, I mean, you can store these in the Marla bags, but I prefer cans, easy access. And these seem to break up really easily, whereas the eggs I seem to have a little bit harder time with breaking that up. But now I bought a little attachment. It did come with attachments, but I did have to buy a specific piece for the lid for the jars. And what I did was put an oxygen absorber in there, and then I also sealed it with the vacuum sealer with that special attachment that I bought. I think I can link that in the description down below, and I'll get that for you guys so you have that. But I just got my funnel here, and then hopefully I won't make a mess and get this in here. Well, I'm already making a mess. Let's see if I can fit all of this in here. I think I might be able to fit all 3 trays in here just by how this is going so far, which is great because less jars that I have to use. Not that I don't have plenty of jars. I've noticed with canning and being a homesteader that you end up with a lot of jars. It's just part of the process. Now, I can also link this recipe in the description below. This recipe, I believe it's from Betty Crocker. And I know I said sausage and potato, but I think it's called sausage and bean soup. But if you'd like, I can definitely link that below. And for the chili, that one doesn't have a link to that. That is a family recipe. I mean, it's not like a secret or anything. Not that I know of. My mom shared it with me and I just kind of picked it up from there. So if you guys want that as well, I can also link that down below. And I noticed that this doesn't stick to the tray. Sometimes when you're doing freeze drying things, they tend to stick to the tray, but this came up really easily. That's one tray. Give it a good shake. So I'd say that's about half. So I could definitely get another tray in here. Switch these out. But all right, I'm going to get the rest of the soups in here and I'll be right back. I've got everything in jars now. I'll put away, and I tried the chili, but I also want to try the other soup, the potato, ham, and bean. Well, it's not a ham, it's sausage. And I let it, it's probably been about 5 minutes or so, and it's got sauce. I'm a little nervous about the sausage. I can see the potatoes. I think they're okay. Maybe needs a little more time, but we're just gonna try it to see. Oh yeah, it needs more time. I don't know if you could hear it, but when I chewed, it was squishy and it was just not okay. Maybe with the soup, the sausage, potato, and bean soup, maybe it would be best to cook it on the stove so it stays consistently hot. That has cooled down quite a bit and it's still not constituted all the way. So I think maybe they would be better that way. Whereas the chili was just fine. It tasted good. I didn't have any issues with that. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this freeze drying video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments below, what's your favorite thing to freeze dry? Is it soup? Is it fruits, vegetables, or some kind of meal? All right, guys, thank you so much again, and take care, and I'll see you on the next one.